Hey guys, it is Sam with Nexus Workshop. We've been talking about Hollis. We've been talking about Hollis all morning. If you've been watching all the videos, thank you for checking it out. And now I want to hear from you. You've watched so much from me. Let me hear from you. Hit me up at Nexus Workshop, nexusworkshop.com, info at nexusworkshop.com, nexusworkshop.com/escape rooms. Send me a message, chat with me, leave a comment, head to email, whatever. Let's talk about this. If there's something here that you want for your game or your system or your immersive experience that we could help with, this is the sort of thing we build. This is the sort of thing we make, and we love doing it. So we want to do it. That said, it's been a long journey. We're at the end of it. It's time for the data visualizer. So the data visualizer lets me pull in either my live database data or I can import database data. So this actually will let me run it on a totally different server. Remember, in my database backups, I have it automatically email me out at the end of every night, the anonymized data. So every Monday after a weekend of the game running, I can come in here, load it up, and load up my data visualizer and look at what's happening. There is so much going on here. I'm going to hit just some very high level points. And I'm also going to point out that the data visualizer, this is its first year. And because we haven't had any data yet, I'm not actually sure how to use it best yet or how I will use it. So it's got a lot of open ended configuration. And I'm going to end up figuring more about how I turn that into useful things. Data in general is a huge point of Hollis. Hollis's purpose is to keep track of things that a computer tracks well that people don't track well. Keep track of things that we had been writing down or had been jotting notes or using flags or keeping track of XP. All these things that they had nothing to do with the game. They were how the game functioned, but they're not the world. A computer does that better. And so that's what Hollis is about, is being the technical backend for keeping track of all that and keeping it all straight so that we can focus on storytelling, so we can focus on the game, on the world, on the characters, on the acting, on that, and just make it fun. So that's Hollis's goal. Now, Hollis has directly had impact in allowing a huge increase in the number of tickets that can be sold, an increase in the number of quests that people can play, an increase in the amount of times a quest runs in a night. Those are all the big goals that Hollis has and has been achieving, is allowing those things to get streamlined and proving, hey, we thought that we had enough quests, but now we can actually see how often do quests stay dormant? How long do they run? How many players are like we can just track everything so much more than we used to be able to. And that can't be overstated as to how important it is to being able to get the most out of this game. That is such a blast. So the data has been really important, and the data visualizer is how we can easily share that data into different places. So at its heart, over here on the left, I have reports. These are actually each folders of reports. So I have 35 default reports right now. I can come in and I can different ones. So I can look at like, hey, I want to take my party and I want to look at the level of distribution of parties. I can pull each of these up. It gives me a little tooltip about, what do they each mean. I can use this to create my own reports. I can take a report, pull it up, and then change the x-axis versus the y-axis and what it has on it. I can filter the data in that port by either some pre-built filters or custom. I can create different nights and compare them to each other. I can even pull in old year's data. So I can pull in last year's data, bring it up, and compare last year to this year. I can take all these reports, I can email them to myself, I can download them as a CSV, I can download them as a chart, so I can take them either like the visual representation or the data itself. I have, let me see if I have one of that's not just a bar chart. These are all just bar charts. Um, these are all just bar charts, but I can change the type of the chart from here. So there's lots of different options depending on what I'm viewing and how it makes sense. And I can get those, again, the visual or just the CSV data of it. Um, the other thing I can do in here is I can create these batch exports. So I can take it and I can make these groupings of charts. And I can say, hey, you know what? Every week I want to generate these 5 charts. These are the 5 main ones that I want to be seeing week in, week in, weekend. I want to send it out to the board. I want to see what it looks like. I can create a batch of that. And then I can basically build an automation in here where I can take each of these, I add them to my cart, which is what this batch export is basically a cart. So I can add them to that And then when I'm in here, I can take that whole thing and I can save it as a set. And so I can say, hey, here's the set that I send to the board every night. And here's the one I send to the GMs that just talked about battle and how many people they killed. And here's the one I send to these people. And I can have these different sets and I can download them. I can load them into my cart. I can email them. And I don't actually have to go click around and pull up the report and edit the thing and set the filters. I can just have that as kind of a pre-built template that I take and export out. That's all I'm going to talk about with data viz right now. And it's weird because data is like the most important part of what Hollis is, but at the same time, this is the part that is it's fully functional, but the least fleshed out in exactly how I intend to use it this year. And I'm going to find that out as we get into it. All that to say, it's going to do exactly what I need it to do because I've built myself that flexibility. I've built myself that visibility into how I want to be able to manipulate things around and then give them a quick start. So I'm not having to think about it that much. I can just pull in and export my standard set and it emails out to me or it does what it needs to do. With all of that, here's my last mention of I've been talking to you about this for like 2.5 hours now. If you've checked out all these videos, I really appreciate it. Now, what I need from you is let's talk about it. Shoot me a comment, shoot me an email, find us on Facebook. We love building things like this. We want to build more things like this. And you've heard me say that enough if you watched all these videos. We also just love talking about stuff like this. This is our bread and butter. This is what we enjoy. So I super appreciate you spending the time with us today. I hope you have learned some neat things about what we've done. I hope you've gotten some ideas for your own projects. I hope to hear from you on what impact that's made and what impact we can help make in the future here. We'd love to hear from you.